Hey folks, David Stewart here. Apparently there's no desktop audio, which may make today's stream rather impossible. We will see what's going on here. Let me know if you can hear the music, because it looks like on my streaming software the music is not coming out at all, unless it's just coming out of the speakers. So I apologize for that if that is not working. Probably listening to silence. I usually have like a little pre-roll. I'm also having really terrible allergies today, so I may have to call it because I just can't talk without sneezing and like having some kind of snot thing going on here. So, oh, you're hearing the music? Yeah, on OBS it's not showing up for some reason. Not sure what the deal is there, but it's not showing it. Oh, maybe it's just you're hearing it out of the computer speakers. So if I turn it off, you may not be able to hear it at all. Oh, yes. The wonders of technology. Making it difficult to do things. Sometimes it sets the audio device. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So now you should go over here. And sometimes it sets the audio device to like the TV. Because I use the TV as a monitor, which works good. It's the LG C1. I got it on a deal after 2021. So great 4K monitor if you're wanting like a ton of screen real estate to do stuff on. Really good for visual design. Very color accurate. And really fun for games too. Let me just say that. Really fun for games. There we go. It's a Lute Solo. Baroque lute. Anyway, all right. Let me go ahead. I'm going to pull something up for y'all. You can read it if you want. For whatever reason, this week, sorry. For whatever reason, this week has been a week where people got really, I don't know, like the amount of upset regarding AI art somehow hit my sphere for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. Sorry, I'm going to start this again because I'm going to record it here. Probably put it out as a separate video. We'll do kind of two things at once. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a minute. All right, so for some reason, controversy about AI art reached some kind of, I don't know, boiling point this week. I've pretty much said everything I have to say about AI art on this channel or on my blog. In the past, I've showed how you can use it to assist in cover design, how you can use it to generate images for book covers, how to meld those images together to make like a coherent book cover that'll communicate genre and that kind of stuff. I've done a couple demos on that, and it's been really fun. But for whatever reason, I guess maybe the more right-wing people have suddenly jumped on the bandwagon of like AI art is bad and it's dangerous and something like that. So I want to break that down, and I'll just go over basically what I wrote on my blog, all the points that I wrote on my blog regarding this, which is stuff that I've talked about before. So if you've been here before, you've probably heard all of this stuff in some context before regarding AI art. So there's a lot to go on here as far as like, you know, where's the morality? I really only think there's one moral issue that's possible, and not even, and it's still pretty gray, and, you know, I'll get to that. So anyway, problem number one is people thinking that AI art is art. That is to say that it is the same as somebody painting a picture. AI art doesn't work that way. Now, the reason that people think that AI art is art It's not. It doesn't have any artistic intent. You're putting in a prompt, and maybe you get an image that you can use that's somewhat close to what you were trying to prompt, something that you can use in a project. That's what I tend to use it for. But it's not the same as an artist having artistic intent and a vision and then fulfilling that vision. It's not the same thing. There's no artist involved in AI art. It's a piece of software using a whole bunch of different algorithms, stochastic reverb stuff, if you're talking about stuff like stable diffusion, to generate an image that's using the prompt to filter that in a way. It's a lot more complicated than that. You can look up all the blogs on like how AI art actually works. It's more than just like smushing images together. There's a lot to it, but it doesn't have artistic intent. So thinking that it's art, it is a computer generated image. The reason people think it's art is that the 20th century, we really divorced art from artists. That was one of the things that happened as a result of the modern going into the postmodern period as far as art goes. And it goes across all arts, literature, music, visual art. All of these will have elements of what I'm talking about. The modern was about creation of new aesthetics. The postmodern was about even more new aesthetics and really divorcing the idea of aesthetic. The idea of death of the author is a postmodern idea. So the people that think AI art is art are the same people that think that Disney Star Wars is canon because Disney paid for the copyright. And they're the same people who think Sam and Frodo are gay because they, as an individual, happen to interpret their relationship as gay. This is I don't need to like go on a big lecture about why this is nonsense, but it is, because artistic intent matters. So the 20th century, we've lost the idea of artistic intent, and therefore looking at AI art as like art that magically appears as art is understandable, because people haven't experienced art in the traditional sense in like 100 years. We're really at a nadir for the development of the arts because of the degradation of the arts in the 20th century, the destruction of the arts. Just because something looks cool doesn't mean it's art. It could be a cool image, but it's not something that like an artist has made. It's not even work performed to a standard. There's a more random element to it. Even when you're trying to use or trying to create assets using an AI, you are going to end up with this thing where like most of them are not going to be usable. You're kind of rolling the dice as to whether you're going to get one. All right, so that's problem number one. Problem number two is people thinking that they're an artist because they're telling a computer what to do. These are people who call themselves AI artists, and these are some of the most deluded people on the internet. It would be like somebody in 1996 discovering Alta Vista search engine and declaring themselves an internet wizard because they can look up. I can just look up any web page. I can find anything on the internet. I'm an internet wizard because I know how to enter things into a search engine, right? That's the same idea. It's like, oh, well, I conjured up this magic prompt that produces this image. Well, yeah, I produced 100 images that looked like crap, and I picked one out and showed it to you to show that I'm a great AI artist. And then most of the time, the stuff that AI artists show off is like, this is an incredible mid-journey, stable diffusion combination. What they're showing actually looks bad because they are not artists. They don't understand like the human form. So it's like, here's this soldier with this really cool ornate armor, and it's like his ear is like up here, his ear's in the wrong place, he's anatomically bizarre, and it looks uncanny and strange because it's not made by an artist who like knows the human form and is visualizing how it works. But the person who's looking at it is also not a trained artist, so they don't really understand what they're looking at. They don't understand the flaws of what they're looking at. They see that it looks cool without really knowing why it's not that good. And then they treat their little, the words that they put into a prompt like they're some kind of magic spell. Like, I know I will share, if you pay my Patreon, I'll share with you my secret prompts. I'm like, just spend 10 minutes with the program and you're going to figure out how to use it, guys. It's not that hard. You just try out some different words and see what happens, and then like add some words to what you did before, and before you know it, you're refining what the algorithm's producing for you as far as an image goes. It's not magic. It's a computer, okay? But it's like, no wonder people think this stuff is demonic, because the AI artists treat it like it's some kind of magic spell. And they're conjuring art up from the abyss, like they're summoning evil, like eldritch beings from some other dimension. No, it's not that way. Now, this is a weird one. This is a weird kind of religious reaction, is that AI art is demonic somehow. This This would imply that demons are able to affect the physical world because the computer is a material object, right? It's not a spiritual object. Now, if the computer is a spiritual object, then I guess this argument would go out the window. I'm making this as an aside. It's not in the article, by the way. But the computer is a physical object. It's immaterial. I mean, it's material. It's not spiritual. There's no soul to a computer. And demons are immaterial, at least in the Christian tradition. So if the demons are immaterial, how are they affecting the material object known as a computer? And why are they doing it? And to what effect are they actually doing it? In the Christian tradition, demons affect people. They don't usually like blow up your car engine, right? If demons could just blow up your car engine, they would just do that and kill you. So they affect you. Demonic affliction is on you in a spiritual sense. It's on a person. It's not on an object usually. I mean, there's exceptions because we're talking 2,000 years of history with this, and more actually, a lot more than that. But usually demons are not ones that like make your spear explode or like make your soup like turn it into poison or something like that. They're not affecting the physical world that way. So if demons are working through the computer, how are they affecting the computer? I'd say what's more likely is that demons influence people. And why would they need to use AI art when they have the entire internet and all of its pornography in order to tempt you with? I think people are looking down the wrong hallway as far as demonic activity, and they need to be looking at what people are saying to each other and are expressing on social media, as well as what they're doing when the doors are closed on the internet and they're able to search to their heart's content whatever vile thing happens to go into it. That's where demons, I think, are really working as a Christian, as a religious person. Anyway, that's an aside. So that was problem number 2. People think they're an artist because they're entering words into a search engine. Problem number 3 is that non-artists don't really get it. So most of the pushback is from either artists who feel threatened, like they're going to lose their livelihood, and then a lot of non-artists who don't really get what AI art is used for by artists. So one of the things you can check out, and I'll just link it in the chat here, is an artist named Noah Bradley. He was well known in Magic the Gathering. He did Magic the Gathering cards, and he's illustrated for, like, I don't know, D&D and a bunch of stuff like that before he got canceled. You know, one of the victims of cancellation, because I think he persuaded women to have sex with him at conventions 10 years ago or something like that. Anyway, so he got canceled, but he does have a great resource on how he could use AI art to sketch. So you use the AI to create a sketch, to come up with a bunch of things, and then you paint over those, you alter those, you put them together. Instead of photo bashing a bunch of photos together to get your sketch, you use AI stuff, and then you can make you can really speed up the sketching process. You speed up the process where you're generating the creative ideas so that you can get to the part where you're making the final image. That's what he's doing with it. So artists are using it. They've already used it. Yeah, it'd be better if artists could have all the time in the world to compose every detail, but we live in a world of limited resources where we want the art done quickly. You know, we want it done to a standard, and we want it done on time. So artists tend to take shortcuts. And a lot of people who aren't artists don't have a strong historical knowledge of the arts, and whether they're music or anything else, but especially visual arts, because it's really easy to see what kind of shortcuts painters and stuff used in the past. They would paint the same painting multiple times and sell it. So this was a common thing, is that you could find different versions of the same painting by the same artist. Why would he paint the same thing? Or you'd find an artist painting something really similar to another artist, like a variation of it, because they liked it, they liked the composition, and then they wanted to do their own version of it, either as a study or just to sell. So artists copied each other relentlessly. And of course, if you go really far back, like to the medieval ages, most of the art was never signed. The artist didn't really sign it. Like iconography, icons weren't necessarily signed with the hand who drew them, right? They were done for the glory of God. Most of the music from the medieval period wasn't even signed. And the idea of like copying being bad was not really a thing. The other thing you get is that like a lot of complex pieces in the past aren't actually drawn by that artist. So you can look up at Jacob Jourdain's Baroque painting that's just like, whoa, there's so much crazy stuff going on. Actually, it wasn't painted by Jacob Jordanes. It was painted by his workshop. So there was a bunch of art students who were low paid or even unpaid doing lots of different things on the canvas. And then Jacob would do the face and the hands. So when you made a contract, it would be like face and hands to be done by the master. So the master would focus on the things that had the most necessary kind of detail, the most necessary artistic touch, which was the face. Turns out AI is not good at doing faces. In my opinion, it's not. There's always something weird, like the eyes are not symmetrical, something doesn't match. You can get a couple usable faces sometimes, but not that many. I've used faces, I've gotten usable faces out of it, but a lot of times I have to correct things after the fact. I have to paint over it or just do some manipulation to kind of, iron out the kinks of what's there. And it does hands terribly. That's a big joke. There's always like 8-fingered hands. So the AI is not good at those things yet. So if you're an artist, where would you want to focus your time? Would you focus it on drawing a background with a bunch of leaves and bricks? Or would you have the AI draw the bricks for you in the style that you're working in, and then you can focus on the stuff that people really pay attention to and notice any flaw with, which is the face, the eyes, the hands, those sorts of things. So artists are already using AI to kind of cut corners and take shortcuts, which lets them produce more art of a higher quality, right? So in that case, it is a tool. And to me, it's just another expression of tools that are used in the past. Having a bunch of art students that are low skilled do the things that don't require a lot of skill while they study. And the master does the things which require the most delicate touch. And so artists are able to do that with one person. Instead of a field of low-paid art students eating gruel, it's an AI and you, right? And then there are other modern examples that people aren't really aware of at all, which is like drawing with references, that is, even tracing. So if you don't know who Greg Land is, he's an artist that's really famous for working in Marvel and for tracing all of his stuff. So he uses a lot of photo references. Now, he could be tracing or he could just using it as a reference, like looking and drawing it, because he does do alterations. And he reuses his own art. So if there's a pose he likes, he'll just draw another character with the exact same pose, the exact same proportions. He'll just redraw the same thing he's drawn a dozen times before, like the artists of yore, because Greg has to work on a deadline, right? He's got to produce a whole book in a month, and it's got to be to a high standard. So he does whatever you do to do that quickly, which is use a photo reference. Why spend an extra hour composing the pose before you start really penciling and inking? Just start with the photo reference, and all the proportions are there. All the camera angles are already there. You don't have to iron out any kind of proportional issues, and it's going to look good when you're done. So yeah, we're already in a place where people trace photo. They use photo references. They also use photo bashing. That's what I do for most of my covers, but artists will do it as a sketch. So they'll put a bunch of photos together, and then that's the sketch layer, and then they'll do a sketch on top of it, and then paint on top of it using digital tools, and boom. Is that cheating? Well, a lot of people would say yes. You need to compose it right from the beginning, but it's a time thing, right? It's got to be good and it's got to be on time. So you use tools like references, you use tools like tracing, you use tools like reusing the art you've done before because you've already done it. And if you're copying yourself, it's not really like unethical to copy yourself, is it? Well, I guess that's another question. Anyway, problem number 4 is that art sucks. I kind of referenced this before, but we have 100 years of degradation of art. Modern art is a joke. When people talk about modern art, they are talking about what a freaking joke it is and how stupid it is. We got bananas taped to walls. We've got Jackson Pollock flinging paint all over a canvas. We even have aleatoric art, like that's a kind of aleatoric art. But you have 20 years ago, I was using a computer to randomly generate music. So I was creating algorithmic music 20 years ago. Guys, it's not new. And people were doing algorithmic music back in the 50s. And people were doing algorithmic art. For 60 years, we've been looking at art which has no artistic merit to it. It doesn't look good. That isn't even to a standard, right? There's no standard. That's the big inheritance of the postmodern, is that anything could be art. There's a question of what is art. If anything could be art, then there's no standard, which means there is no art, because art is a work performed to a standard. So the idea of artistic intent has been divorced from art, like I said, and that's part of that. So art sucks. People have been surrounded by art that's bad. You have to go back more than 100 years to find fine art, which is even worth looking at, is what it's like. So in those sorts of situations, an AI-generated image, which looks good, it looks better at least than the crap that you're being told is art, well, people are going to like that. And people are going to want to use it because, well, it looks better than what they've been seeing for 100 years. And that brings me to actually problem number 5, which is artists suck. So the main people pushing back against this are artists. Like I said, non-artists don't really get it. Artists are afraid of being replaced. Good artists don't need to worry about that for reasons that I'll continue to get into. Bad artists do need to worry about it, I guess, because most artists suck. And if you've ever tried to produce a comic book, you know that this is the case. It's not just that they are technically incapable. We have 100 plus years of bad art coming out of academia. And really, we have two kinds of bad art. We have the fine art, which has been completely degraded to the point where there is no art. That's the academic realm. And then you have the corporate realm. So it's either corporate, boring schlock, or it's completely repugnant, uninterpretable garbage. So within those two extremes, people are going to like AR in the middle, but we also have a lack of artists who are doing really emotional and original and I guess elevated works of art these days. It's actually a real problem. So our institutions don't train artists to be good at their craft. If someone has an arts degree, if someone has a PhD in art, there's a very good chance they will be bad at art. You can get a PhD in art having never actually performed work to a standard, have never actually been good at it, have never produced anything that anyone enjoys looking at. It's quite possible. And in fact, it's probably the norm. The number of people that I've encountered who have a fine arts degree of some kind and are good at their craft is very slim, especially in the visual arts. Less so in music. Musicians, I've met a lot of great musicians who are they're very high level players with a PhD. There's still some standards in music, but with visual art, with literature, there's virtually no standards. So there's no telling what you're going to get if somebody has an arts degree. And if you can look at their portfolio, if they even have one, even if they have enough, they can have a bachelor's degree in art and not have enough to show you as a portfolio. You look at their portfolio and it's terrible. How can I use them as somebody who needs art as part of a project? I need art for a book cover or for a book interior or something like that. I can't use these artists at any price, right? The artists who do have the skill are so rare that they're way too expensive to use most of the time. So instead, you use photo covers because the skill level is so rare now that it's almost impossible to find really good illustrators who are able to work at a reasonable price. You want good and cheap, it's not going to happen. You can find good and expensive, you can find cheap and terrible. Pick one, right? So we picked a third way. The entire literature industry picked a third way, which is we'll just use stock photos for covers because we can't find enough good artists to work to a high standard for the correct amount of money, given how many books you're going to sell. And this is especially true for me. Like, I don't sell a ton of copies of books, and sometimes I write books that I know are not going to sell well. I don't have Al-Shafalda here, but you should read Al-Shafalda because it's cool and it's a tragedy. But I know that writing a fantasy tragedy in the classical sense is not going to sell super well in the modern genre world, which is really focused on tropes and magic systems and crap like that. To write the kind of story that exists in Al-Shafalda, it's like I held off on publishing it for 2 years because I just was like, people are not going to like this, especially after the 2020 election. They don't want to read a tragedy. But hey, that's what it is. Now, if I had paid $1,500 for an artist to draw a great piece of art for that book, well, I'd be out $1,400 pretty much, right? I haven't made that much money on the book. So like losing $1,400 on an experimental book is not really acceptable. You have to choose another way, which is going to be stock photos, or what I did with that book, which is kind of melding AI images together to produce a final product which is presentable and looks cool enough that people want to click on it and maybe see what the story's about. That's really important. So yeah, artists suck. It's really hard to find good artists. And it's really hard to find ones, if they have skill, that they're actually going to be professional. You can talk to anyone who's made comics. You have artists that disappear halfway through a project with the money in hand, and then you have to somehow find another artist to finish it. Even the big two, frequently you'll buy a book and there'll be 3 different art styles in it because none of the artists could actually finish the book within a month. So one artist started it and was not going to be able to finish, so they had the second half of the book illustrated by another artist and he couldn't finish it, and so they had the last 2 pages illustrated by a third. Like, you used to have someone like John Buscema or Jack Kirby would do multiple books a month sometimes, and to a very high standard. They were very skilled. They were really good at what they did, but we've lost a lot of that skill. It's much rarer. It's harder to find. It's harder to perform things to the standard of yore. So it's a problem. Good luck finding an artist that can do things on time and under budget. It's not going to happen, and to a high standard. Problem number 6 is that non-art is already standard. I kind of went over this. We chose the third way, which is photo covers. So we've already accepted, the market has already accepted that it's okay to not have art, not have a cover art, not have cover art at all, to just have photos for your cover. In fact, it's standard. And in some genres, you don't want an illustrated cover. You don't want art on your cover. If you're in nonfiction, you want very minimalist art, not expensive, difficult to do art. You maybe want no art or just a photo, right? I've gone over nonfiction cover design. Go look in the nonfiction section and see how much art there is. Pretty much the only genre which uses art extensively is fantasy, like paintings. And even then, people are completely willing to buy a book that just is photo bashed, that's just got photos on the cover. You know, if I could just grab one off the shelf, because I've done a bunch of them. Let's grab Shadow and Smoke, right? This is a great one. And we'll grab Water of Awakening because that has a painting. So this has a painted cover. And I'm really fond of this painted cover. This is a big book for me. I'm happy to spend money on a painted cover for book 3, Leper King. Now, the teaser cover that you guys have seen, that's not going to be the final cover. I'm probably going to have like a real artist do a real cover because I want to splurge on like my favorite books, which are some of these in the Eternal Dream series. Shadow and Smoke. This is a photo bash cover. This is a cover that has like 15 different stock photos stuck together to produce a scene, and then highly manipulated. I painted over it and did all kinds of other things to produce this image that communicates like the fantasy genre and all that kind of stuff so that people know what's going on with this cover. But there's no art in the context of this. Like, this is art in a sense because I'm acting as an artist, but there's no art like a visual artist painting a painting. I've already excised them. I've already removed their skills from the necessity of my workflow entirely because they're too expensive and it's too hard to find people that can perform to a high standard. If you're going to put out a fantasy book, that painting has to be, it's got to be good, or it's going to actually hurt your sales worse than a photo cover. So a photo cover is going to be better than a bad painting always. A good painting will be maybe slightly better than a photo cover or the same. Really, you're talking about a thing for people to click on, to communicate to the reader quickly. Here's what's in the book. It needs to be to a certain standard, but exceeding that standard doesn't necessarily equal more book sales at all. You have to meet the standard, and that's the thing. So paintings can help you do it, but you can also do it with photos. So why are big publishers, I think, Tor Books, Tor Books came out with this dumb tweet. Tor Books designed the cover for Fractal Noise by Christopher Paolini. During the process of creating this cover, we licensed an image from a reputable stock house. We were not aware that the image may have been created by AI. Our in-house designer used the licensed image to create the cover, which was presented to Christopher for approval. Due to production constraints, we've decided to move ahead with our current cover. Tor Publishing Group has championed creators in the SFF community since our founding and will continue to do so. So people are like, I can't believe you used AI images. Like, they already use stock photos. Why are you not objecting to stock photos? That ship has sailed. The idea, you've already accepted that people don't use art in their book covers. So what's the difference between getting a stock photo and paying 10 cents for the stock photo? Because under these stock photo plans, I sell a lot of stock photos. I don't make a lot of money from it. Somebody whose image you license is getting paid like a quarter to use that image. Or maybe more, maybe $1, right? They're not getting paid a lot to license the image, is what I'm saying. So you license the image for a very small amount of money, usually, unless you're doing like a really expensive, or it's like a premium photo or something. And then you're just going to pay the designer a little bit of money and pocket the difference, because it would cost thousands of dollars to have a legitimate painter spend the time necessary to make a great painted cover. So yeah, we've already accepted that. That ship has already sailed. We're already into that. So yeah, publishers want a penny pinch. I understand. I penny pinch. That's why I do photo covers. They're cheap. So that's why I would do AI art covers, because they're cheap. And for me, I'm into enabling people to publish their books. I don't think people should have to pay $1,500 to publish a fantasy book. I don't think people should have to pay $2,000 to publish a fantasy book or whatever it is to hire a competent artist to make a successful cover. I think people should be able to enter the market cheaply. And AI allows them to do that without them having to learn an extreme amount of Photoshop skills. Like, I use a lot of Photoshop in my covers, but using AI assets, I have to use significantly less of those skills in order to produce a cool cover. I can start with an AI image and just do a couple little things, and boom, I have a cover. Versus having to bash together 12 or 15 photos, or I don't even know how many were in shadow and smoke. Like, I have to look and count. There's at least there's like 2 different cloud pictures. There's the moon, the sky I drew the sky, and then there's like the city street, the lamp, like all these elements are different, and then I had to paint over them to like get the lighting right and to get the colors right and to like make the image. So there's a bunch of images, and you have to do a lot of work to it. AI cuts down on that. So if I can teach writers how to enter the market cheaply and effectively, and have a cover that is going to sell really well for them, or at least be the minimum standard so they can sell their book at all, to me that's good. To me that's a good thing, and especially since the market doesn't really require you to use art. Really, it's a very weird line to say, like, wait, you can't use computer generated images, but you can just use stock photos that you pay someone $0.25 for. Like, come on. That book is, that ship has sailed, and the ship sailed because of all the reasons I talked about. Art sucks, artists suck, it's too expensive, and people already accept that there's no art. So problem number 7 is AI art is actually bad. I've kind of talked about this. It's good in some ways. It can be a big shortcut, but like I said, it can't do hands, it can't do faces very well, it can't compose a complex image very well at all. It can do impressionist works. It can do, but I can't be like, okay, I want a picture of a girl and she's standing in a field of yellow flowers in a green forest. There's magical purple haze everywhere, blah, blah, blah. I can have a painting in mind. If I describe it it won't do that. It's too complex. You can draw the girl. You can draw maybe the girl in a specific color dress, and maybe you'll get a dress that you like. You can draw the forest. And so that's what I end up doing, is using a bunch of separate, I make like 3 or 4 AI images and bash them together and smooth out the colors and all that kind of stuff. But it saves a lot of time because I don't have to do a bunch of color filtering on each stock image, which is what I normally have to do. I have to very meticulously adjust the color range of every single image so that it all blends together. We don't have to do any of that. You just be like, oh, I want a yellow and I want a green forest with yellow flowers, and boom, there it is. And then like, oh, I want a girl who looks like this, and there she is, and you just kind of stick them together. I want planets, and then I want ships, and then I want, just stick those things together, and then you kind of have a cover. And it takes a lot less effort. So that means that somebody could design their cover and have it look good enough to sell, and do it in an afternoon for a couple dollars or free, either with photos or with AI. That's a boon. That means someone else gets to achieve their dream of publishing their book, and they don't have to break the bank. They don't have to empty their bank account to buy a ticket to play. The cover is an ad, and you're buying a ticket to play. You're buying a ticket to hopefully get people to buy the book. You shouldn't. I'm not a believer that people should have to pay thousands of dollars in order to publish their book. I know that there's many people who sell author services that are like, no, you should hire an editor for $3,000 and hire a painter for $2,000. You should spend $10,000 to publish a book. You're like, I don't believe that at all. In fact, my best-selling books have been my cheapest. Like, I think my best-selling book is now Eyes in the Walls, and it's one stock photo that I drew eyes on. Where is it? I'll get it. I'll show it to you. It's a super simple cover. I did it really quick because I didn't know. I wrote it in a month and then put it out. I wrote it in November a couple of years ago. So this is what it looks like. It's a picture of a morgue, and I just drew a couple eyes, color graded it, and then designed the little text. Like, this is really easy stuff to do, guys. This is my best-selling book, and it's my cheapest, easiest cover I ever did. But it's to a high enough standard that people will see it and be like, oh, it invokes just enough curiosity that you're going to click on it and read the description. And that is a public, that image is in the public domain. That's Hieronymus Bosch, the Temptations of St. Anthony the Great, a saint that I happen to, have a connection to or a lot of affection for, affinity for. St. Anthony is actually in the book. Anyway, so yeah, my best-selling book is the cheapest, easiest cover that I made. You don't need to spend millions of dollars to do it. You pay to play, but you don't have to pay a lot. I want to get that ticket for you guys to enter the market as cheap as possible so you can achieve your dreams, so you can have success, so you can make some money, so that you can get money for your art. Like, how good is that going to feel? And what's the art here, right? What's the art? The art is this. It's the story. This is the ad to help you know what's inside the story. It's to help sell the story. It's not the book itself. The book is the art that I'm making. And the cover is really an ad to get people to hopefully buy that art, right? So that's, I guess, all of my big points here. I don't really have too much else to say about that. I've talked about this elsewhere, but that's like as deep as I can go with it, with the little aside about, is it demonic or something like that? I don't think so. Here's the only moral issue. So I'm going to get to the only moral issue that I can really find in here, which is the nature of copyright and how people's images are used to train these AIs, to train the software. The software uses other images to more or less train itself to make new images, like to combine them and do new things with them, right? So the images that it initially looks at, those artists aren't being compensated for their art being fed into the machine. Should they be? That's the moral question. Now, if we go back in time, if the AI is a person, it's not a person, but if you imagine it's acting like a person, artists back in time, they didn't pay other artists to copy their work as an exercise to learn how to draw better. They didn't pay artists to go look at their work and learn new techniques, which they then applied, right? They just did that. And you could do it now. You can look up, if you want to draw like John Buscema, you could look up John Buscema ink drawings and copy them and learn some of his technique that way. And that's a really good way to do it. Artists do that a lot. So is the AI doing that any different? It's generating new images. In fact, it'd be very difficult to say that any image it generates is a derivative work. I think you could try to sue them, but I don't see any, I'm not a lawyer, I don't see any avenue, given what I know about copyright as a professional, I don't see any avenue for litigation success within the law. I mean, maybe you could convince a jury, but I think you'd be very difficult. It'd be like, this image is a derivative of my client's image for which he was not compensated. I think you're going to have I think it's going to be impossible to prove, frankly. So that's the moral question. That's the one I'll leave you with. I'm not certain on the yay or nay on that, like whether people who have had the software look at their images deserve to be compensated for that or not. But that's the only moral question that I find in here. Other ones are more emotional reactions, like artists won't have work, and then what would our society look like if the artists don't? We already have a society with no artists and with bad art. So the idea of like, what would society look like if artists were out of work? It's like artists have already completely failed in their mission to produce good art. That's why AI art exists in the first place. It's completely backward thinking. Like, we have to get rid of the AI art so to save art. It's like you spent 100 years destroying art. In order to save art, you got to teach people how to do art. You got to make artists better. You have to make art better before you can complain about the machine doing better art than the artist. Sorry, guys, that's how it is. Like, our art establishment doesn't get to complain that people want AI art when they've been producing garbage, in some cases literal garbage. Like, here's a pile of garbage, that's art, and here's a little card about how it's art. You know, been doing garbage for 50 to 100 years. Sorry, doesn't work that way. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Let's take a look at the chat and all that good stuff. So, boom. Okay. Because I wasn't looking at the chat, I was just looking at my article. I gotta blow my nose. Oh man, allergies are so bad today. I almost like don't want to do anything. Did you ever watch Rings of Power? I did not, and no one else should either. It's made because they hate you and they hate Tolkien. So why would you watch that? I mean, I might still watch it for Machiavellian like teardown of how bad it is and how insulting it is, because it might make me some money. But it's like, guys, you already know not to watch it. Thank you, Sound Engraver. Thank you for the $2 super chat. I'm reaching 45,000. I feel like I would have hit 100K if like I hadn't gotten shadow banned about 2 years ago. But that's how it happens. That's how it works. Experimenting with sounds in Super Collider. I can see the program as a tool for good sounds. That said, good sounds do not always make great music composition. True. You have to know how to compose first. You have to have artistic intent. So if I have a computer that creates music, it may be good, it may be bad, but it doesn't really have intent. You need a person to have intent behind it. So I'm not into aleatoric music. In fact, it's awful. We've had it forever. You can look up music by Milton Babbitt or whoever. Morton Subotnick stuff. Morton Subotnick does more interesting stuff than Milton Babbitt, but it gets really bad. And I use computers to make music all the time. I use randomness in computer music. I use, you listen to my music. It's not a band. It sounds like a band. It's just me overdubbing myself. Thank you for the other super chat, Sound Engraver. I appreciate it. I feel like a lot of corporations would use AI writing programs for movies and TV shows. Could it be worse than what they're doing now? They're already doing it terribly. Producers are probably looking at AI like, we could save 30 grand by not hiring bad writers. They already don't pay them shit for where they live, especially. It's like a writer making $25,000 a year in LA is like living on the streets in a van, or like living in a van down by the river. I lived in LA almost 10 years ago, and our rent was like $2,200 a month for like an 800 square foot flat. I hate to see what it's like now, man. So, but yeah, I mean, I could see them doing it because they're like, these writers are bad and are tanking our shows, and they could probably save some money, just have the AI write it. It's like, could it be any worse? I don't think it could get worse than what they're doing now. I use the clone tool for Leaves, Brick, and Chainmail. Hell yes, I do. I use the cloning tool all the time. I use the cloning tool to fill in all kinds of gaps. I don't have the cover of City of Silver is a picture. I want to say it's a picture of Bruges, right? It's a picture either from like Bruges or Brussels. It's somewhere in Belgium. And it looked really medieval, and so I wanted to use it for a medieval scene, but it had a manhole cover in it. I'm like, I can't have the manhole cover. We'll just clone the street on top of that manhole cover and just wipe it right out, man. We'll just paint over that manhole cover and just get rid of it. Boom, it's gone. Yeah, now it looks like a real medieval street with open sewers instead of like the modern sewers built underneath it. It looks great. Yeah, I use that stuff all the time. In Photoshop, you can actually use AI tools to like expand the image. They have AI tools in Photoshop now. I could probably demonstrate a couple of them. And you can even use ones to change what the model looks like. This is really cool, actually. Now, people may object to this because this is putting photographers out of work. But you're like, I kind of like this model, but I wish he was looking over there. And then they can make him look over there, or they can make his head turn, or they can, make him smile instead of frown, or make him frown instead of smile. Like, you can change the expression on a model's face to fit like the exact thing that you want out of the image, which is wild. It just lets you find the right model. Instead of having to find the right photo, you just find the right model with a close enough pose, and you can get the image that you want. Yeah, the idea that anything can be art, as soon as you say anything can be art, then everything is art. In which case, there's no artist. There's no need for an artist if anything can be art. Asking that question means that you're putting artists out of the business. Been loving Jim Kay's illustrations of the Harry Potter books. I think they're great too. I don't know if he's making a killing. The newest one, I think he only did like half the illustrations, and they had to have another illustrator come in and finish. And it was delayed because of the pandemic. He couldn't work during the pandemic. I don't know why that is, but a lot of people were stressed out by the pandemic and had trouble being creative. So I'm going to try to be charitable instead of like judgmental, because I tend to plow ahead and work no matter how bad or good I feel. Other people are not like that, and other people need to have some emotional stability in order to work artistically. I understand that. So yeah, he fell way behind with that one, and then another illustrator had to come in and finish. But he's good. Yeah, he's a great painter, especially. The problem is illustrated covers in the style of the Prydain series don't sell well these days unless it's specifically middle grade. Yeah, that's part of it, and it really depends on which version of the Prydain or Prydain books you have. The versions I have, those covers would sell really well in fantasy today. But they're not the original covers. They're newer paintings. They look really good. They're high fidelity. They're very, very cool. I find it hilarious that the supposed trad pub with money is doing covers like that as well. Yeah, they're doing the same cheap covers I am. Is fantasy an oversaturated market? It is. It's insanely popular and it's oversaturated. It's both. Fantasy is one of these, and I know because I write fantasy. It's one of these genres that people love to read it, but people get excited to write it. It inspires people to write it, and I think D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, has inspired a whole generation of people to try to write books and to try to make games that are not necessarily good. I hate to say it, but like it inspires people to work because especially if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, you're thinking, oh, I can make a story too. It's like, you should. Yeah, you should totally try. But it's one of those genres, kind of like metal. And of course, I love heavy metal too. Heavy metal, there's like a big portion of metal fans who are also heavy metal musicians, or jazz. It's the same thing. Like, what portion of people who listen to jazz are actually musicians? And it's like probably really high. I would say of all the people I've known who play jazz, 95% of them are musicians on some level. Either they're amateurs, just kind of doing it kind of here and there, or they play in a church band, or they're like professional jazz musicians. That's the only, you go to a jazz gig, we play a jazz gig, half the people there would be jazz musicians from the other school, or they'd be like just older guys who are still jazz musicians, still gigging. Half the people in the audience are playing another gig the next day. That's how jazz was. So I think fantasy's kind of like that. People get, the people who are really into reading it are also into writing it, to a large part. I think artists undervalue their work because there's someone who will undercut the price a lot from overseas. Yeah, here's the thing, Bayou Bomber, and I know you're an artist. I would tend to hire someone from overseas, not because of the price, but because they can actually do the work to the appropriate standard. When I was shopping for like the artist that did this cover, this is actually an image I licensed from him because I needed to release this book more quickly than he could do new art. Karen Byatt, he also does covers for Twilight Force. He's done like World of Warcraft concept art. He's Turkish, and his prices are still high. But I have to go overseas to get people who are good because they're not trained here. The United States university system trains people to be bad at art. So if they're from an American university, I can almost guarantee, like it's a markdown. It's like I really have to peruse their portfolio before I can hire them for any price, because if it's not up to the appropriate standard, it doesn't matter how cheap it is. It really doesn't. It's just not good enough. So most American artists, most European artists even, are just not good enough to make the cut. They're just not good enough. But I find lots of artists in Poland or Ukraine, or a little harder to get them out of Ukraine now, but Poland, the Eastern Bloc, Georgia, even, Turkey, various Balkan states. You find people from Serbia that are amazing artists, and they just kind of train themselves because they didn't have access to university education, they went to the things that looked good rather than going to a university and having a professor tell them to tape bananas to the wall and think outside the box. Thinking outside the box only works if there's a box to think outside of. Once you burn the box and bury its ashes, there's nothing to think outside of. You're just flopping around like a dead fish. I don't know. Metaphorically. So yeah, it's not the price nearly as much as it's that Americans just are bad at art. They're just not good at it. They're very poorly trained. For Bayou Bomber, like, again, I gave some examples of how people use AI art. They use it for the sketch process. Like, oh, let me try to sketch out an idea before I start making the final product, right? Does this composition work? Does this look the way I want it to look? Just the same thing as photo bashing. A lot of artists do that. And it gets you through the sketch process a lot quicker so you can decide on the stuff you're going to do for the final product. And that can be good. Or you can use it to fill in backgrounds, or you can use it to color things. You can use it for your color palette. One of the things I love about AI art is that I can limit the color palette so much better. I can just say green and gold, and boom, that's the colors it's going to use. So it can help you think of, it can do like a fast color study for you. Like, what does this composition look like in green and gold, and you can, I think I like this combination of colors for this. So it can help you get through the sketch phase a lot quicker. It's not going to do the details in the way that you probably want as an actual artist, nor is it going to perform up to the standard of a high quality artist, but it can still do some really good stuff, and it can still move things along more quickly in your workflow, which lets you do more art and lets you focus on the details which really matter rather than the details which don't. Why isn't the stance that art is long dead more established? I still have friends that defend to the death what is basically paint splatters, random objects lying against each other and such. I think it's because artists train. I think the universities train artists to think like that. I'm going to check the door real quick. There it is. Okay. Do you consider yourself an extrovert or an introvert? I consider myself an introvert, but you shouldn't let either of those titles dictate anything about yourself. Like, you are what you choose to be. So if you want to be more extroverted, then it's not hard, be more extroverted. And if you want to be more introverted, be more introverted. So you can decide to be extroverted. I know that this is not a popular way to view. I realized that like my white balance was like way off for like the whole time, and I hadn't done my normal thing here. There we go. That looks a little better. So yeah, you can be whatever you want to be. You don't have to listen to people say like, oh, introverts are like this and extroverts are like this, and if you're an introvert, you have to be like this. I think people end up using, like, why do musicians use drugs so much? It's because they're introverts and then they have to be extroverts, or they're extroverts and they need to be introverts. So they take the drugs to handle performing and being extroverted, and then they take the drugs to handle sitting in a practice room by themselves and being introverted. You can develop a discipline outside of your normal mode. You just have to focus on it. So I consider myself an introvert, and people are like, how are you an introvert? You've done like 1,000 videos. You do all these lectures. You're a teacher. It's like, how you're clearly an extrovert. It's like, no, I choose to operate in a mode that I'm not necessarily comfortable in, right? It's like, I don't like parties, but I choose to go to them because they give me benefit, right? I need to make social connections with people. I'd much rather go fishing with one person than go to a party. But if I want to go fishing with that one person, I got to go to the party to meet the one person I'm going to go fishing or hunting with, right? So you have to, you got to realize that like your preferences not dictate you. You can work against your own preferences because there's good reasons to, and you can even enjoy things that would normally be outside your preference, like public speaking Hey David, efficient leveling Oblivion video. I'm glad people still remember the game after many years. Anyhow, cheers from Ukraine. Keep up the good work. I'm so glad that you're okay. Uh, I pray a lot about. I pray about Ukraine, but there's nothing I can really do as like a U.S. citizen. You know what I mean? Therapy's been teaching me slowly about just how much agency over my own life I have. You really can do whatever. Yeah, this is one of the things. There's a even though we're talking about therapy, there's a therapeutic ideal, which has expressed itself in the modern context of like you are these sets of personality traits or like mental disabilities or mental illnesses. It's like I am a depressive schizoid or something, right? Like that is what you are. No, you are what you do, right? Your soul, just think about what the Latin word for soul is: anima, your animation, your movement, your motion. So you are what you do. You're your animation. You're the things that you act out. You're not just how you feel. How you feel is important. That's part of it. That helps dictate what you want to do. But ultimately, you do have, I am a believer in free will, and you're not exclusively your feelings or your desires. You are the things that you do. So if you want to be that person who's social, you can exercise that. You can work towards being a more social person. Why do you want to be more social? Well, you enjoy having people you can rely on. You enjoy having people outside yourself who know you. And maybe you need to go to that party, like I said, so that you can have coffee with someone. Like, how do you meet women? I get this question a lot. It's like, in my day, you met women at parties. You met women through your social circle. You socialized a lot, and through those connections, you met people that you were compatible with, at least initially, and you could go on a date with them. That's how I dated people before there was the internet. I never have met anyone on the internet really that I've dated. I've met people on the internet that have like been in my wedding or been at weddings and stuff, like really deep friendships I've developed through the internet, but not dating, right? How did you meet this person? Well, I met them at a party, or like they were at the bar when we went after the gig, and we struck up a conversation, and then we went on a date. So, this is I haven't been married that long. I've been married 8 years. It's been good. So I really was with my wife well before the internet dating has gotten to be like the Tinder level stuff. So I can't give you tons of advice on that, but hey, if you want to meet more people, you got to start developing a social circle. And if you have to be the person who throws the parties, I threw a lot of parties in my youth as an introvert, as a person who didn't like parties, because I wanted to have friends and I wanted to have people around me, at least in some capacity. I wanted to be able to have access to that, So yeah, I threw a lot of parties. Maybe that's something you can do. So it's you are what you do. And that's an important thing to remember. And I think a lot of people that have maybe anxiety with social stuff, a competent therapist can help guide you to overcome that, to get what you want, which is hopefully connections with other people, rather than say, oh, well, you have social anxiety, never talk to other people again. I don't know any therapist that would say that. You know what I mean? So I've had ADHD my whole life, and as you grow up, the H in ADHD goes in your head, and as you get socialized, this is the result of me being so in my head, it's a problem. It's very common to have that kind of anxiety. Statistically speaking, most relationships come from colleagues and friends of friends. It sounds about appropriate. And this is always my my thing when people are like, someone's like, I can't believe that it's like most people marry someone that just happens to be near them. It's like, that's how it works. And it works that way because compatibility is not found, it's made. Love is developed from having common, how should I put it, values, but really having common experiences. Doing things together is what develops your love and your compatibility, is literally just being with that other person. So if you stuck two people in an arranged marriage, it's like, why do arranged marriages, why are they successful? Is that they're in a culture that doesn't allow divorce, is the first one. But the other one is that they develop compatibility, love, and mutual respect over time. So just by spending time together, they end up having a solid marriage. whereas other people are constantly wanting the other person to be this thing that they envision for their partner, rather than just experiencing humanity, just experiencing a fellow human and living with that person and learning to do things for them and with them and have things that they do for you, you know? Anyway, I feel called out as a jazz trumpeter. It's like, I bet you know that like most, it's like play at the gig. It's all jazz musicians. Whoa! Again, the whole appeal of AI is novelty, not uniqueness. Artists will still always have a market because artists are unique individuals. I agree. And here's the other thing. What am I using the art for? I'm using it for specific projects. I'm not just making AI art. I don't know anyone who just buys art. So there's all these artists on Twitter. What kind of business are they trying to drum up? Are they trying to sell a print? Maybe you sell some of those. But you're probably trying to get work for a project, right? You're trying to get hired to someone, I'll do a cover for you, or I'll do a comic for you or something, right? So most of the time we're using art for specific purposes, which means it's not just some absolute piece of art. There's very few people painting paintings just to have beautiful art exist. They're out there, but very few people are going to buy that. So the AI could never replace you as an artist making an AI can never make an icon by definition. So if you're like, I want to have a work of my spirit, and I'm going to make an icon of a saint I love, and I'm going to spend time in prayer and fasting, and then I'm going to do the icon, or do a statue, or whatever it's going to be. That's a spiritual exercise that no AI can do, nor is the point to have the AI replace a person doing that. That's anti the point. A person doing that as a spiritual exercise can never be replaced. And so if you as an artist, if you're doing it absent money, that can never be replaced. It's impossible to replace that. What artists are worried about is that they'll get replaced for projects. Got news for you. You already got replaced. We already replaced you with stock photos because you weren't doing a good enough job and you were too expensive. One of those things weren't lining up. That's why people chose the third way and did stock photos. They're cheap. We're all cheap. Sorry. I'm sorry. I would love to hire more artists. I would love to. But it's really an act of charity or like an indulgence on my part. Like I indulge in the art. I indulge in buying interior art or cover art or something. That's an indulgence, or because I want to give an artist an opportunity to work and make a little money. That's an act of charity, not really a business thing. You know what I mean? So if you're going purely by the business, you'd probably never hire an artist ever, right? Or at least if you're doing books. But I want to hire them because I love art in general. So if I'm using AI art for some things, it's because I'm just doing that instead of a photo. That's all. All right. Let's see if we can play a game for a little bit, since I went on that nice long rant. Get the PlayStation Vita out. I think I was trying to find the gold saucer again. I'm going through this game slow. I need to stream it more. I can also stream Diofield Chronicle for you guys if you want. I bought it on the Steam sale. It's like it's a tactical RPG but an RTS. It's pretty fun. I'll do a review on it once I played a little bit more. But it did not get good reviews when it came out. And I'm thinking like $30 is probably the right price for it instead of $60. But I enjoy the gameplay on it so far. What AI art program do you use for the quick concept? I use Midjourney because it does the best set of compositions, so it can combine the most elements kind of in a way to kind of see what I'm working with. And I'll use that as kind of like a book sketch sometimes. So it's like I want a beautiful woman standing in a library surrounded by books and there's vines growing in it. I can do that. None of those details will be there, but I'm like, I think that would look like a good book cover, and then I can start working on the elements. Another thing you could do, like if you want to use AI art in conjunction with a cover artist, is you can use the AI to develop a cover, a sketch of the cover. It's not like, you may have someone with like a weird arm or like, fisheye or something, but the composition will be there. You have to kind of pick. Do you want the details or the composition? The composition being like the image as a whole. You can come up with the whole image and be like, this is what I'm thinking. You hand it to an artist. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's the colors that I want. because I'm an artist myself to an extent. I'm just not a very good visual artist, but my mom was an artist and I've been trained as an artist. Here's what I'm thinking for colors and the composition, and this is what I want to market the book based on my knowledge of like my genre and stuff like that, which you can find as an author, and I've done tons of videos to educate people on that and share my knowledge. There's other cover artists who share their knowledge too. And then the artist can go, okay, I'll just make something like that, and then they put their own touch on it and they do their details, and it looks smooth and it doesn't look like there's nothing weird about it. And if you're an artist and you get insulted by that idea, that's an interesting thing. But I can imagine some artists being, I'm insulted by someone handing me an AI sketch and telling me to like make it good. Well, it's a job, and you don't have to do any kind of preliminary sketches. You're like, great, I don't have to send you a sketch. I don't have to update you. I'm just going to turn this into a good painting, and then I'll send it to you. And then you'll be like, whoa, that's great. That's exactly what I wanted, was that great painting that the AI can't do, but can maybe give like a rough estimate of where things should be, or like the color palette and the mood of the piece maybe, and then the artist can do the real work of art. You know what I mean? So you can use it for that too. But I use Midjourney for most of that. Game sounds interesting. I love tactical RPGs too. Do you have courses on Udemy? I do not. I have courses on YouTube. So they're free. I like giving stuff away, guys. Especially education. I'm really into... it's a little too loud for me. I'm really into letting people do things cheaply and stuff like that. So I really like giving education away, helping other people succeed. It's a charitable act. To me, this is a kind of charity. Where the heck am I going? Well, there's my boat. I'm trying to figure out how to get to the gold saucer. I think you can't get into battles when you're in the plane boat thing. I think it's impossible. You usually only get 30% of a sale as a teacher on Udemy, so it's not really worth it. I mean, it's better than zero, which is what I get doing it for free. But I like to do things for free for their own reasons, because they're free. So that people can get it with no cost. I would hate, and I did this with music too. It's like, I'd hate for like the next great guitarist to not be able to reach his potential because he couldn't afford guitar lessons. And I think that with authors too. It would really suck if the world didn't have a great book because someone, they couldn't get published through the mainstream publisher because of something about them, or, they couldn't afford a good book cover, so they just never published their book. That would really suck. And I think the same thing with cheap guitars, right? Like, cheap Chinese guitars have driven a lot of American stuff, provided a lot of competition for American-made things. I think I just came from here. Can we go back in? Let's stay at the end. But having a cheap Chinese-made guitar means somebody can get into playing guitar for $100 instead of $1,000. This is the item shop. To me, that's like awesome. I would hate for the next Steve Vai to just not exist because he couldn't buy a cheap guitar. Like, we need cheap things on the market in addition to expensive things. Imagine saying like we're destroying the quality of guitars by allowing the Chinese to make cheap guitars. It's like, no, we're enabling poor musicians to have music and to make music and enrich the world without having to be rich and be previously wealthy. What is with all of these 5 to 10 hour videos on YouTube about a show, movie, or video game? They've really pushed it hard in my algorithm recently. Just there should be a button to click like I'm not interested, and YouTube will show you less. It's these, I don't know, these really long live streams or podcasts that I occasionally see them as a joke, like some, what is it, EFAP or whatever, some awful show where they talk about a 2-hour movie for 7 hours. Now, you could study a 2-hour movie for 7 hours as like a film student, but as a casual person, I don't know why you'd go in for that. And me as a content maker, I wouldn't want to make a 5-hour video because it'd be too redundant. Like, what on earth are you talking about for that amount of time? It just seems like a ridiculous amount of time to talk about any topic. You know, if I was doing a lecture, and I've been a lecturer, so I guess this makes sense. If I was doing a lecture on something, I can go through like the rivers. This is great. Does this go to the ocean? Where does this go? Oh, it goes back to the ocean. I need to go up to the gold saucer. Does this get me to the gold saucer? Oh, that's like the desert area. These guys are crazy. Game audio is a bit too loud. Thank you. I'll turn it up. There you go. Better? Thank you. Cheap guitars are great. Brands like Harley Benton make playing really accessible. Yeah, that's the point. What's your opinion on Polyphia? I'm going to Google Polyphia and give you an opinion on it. Oh, it's a rock band. I don't know anything about them. Sorry. Never heard of them. They're probably good. They're from Plano, apparently. Sorry, don't know anything about them. Oh, that's right. We're moving? This is bad. Oh boy, there's no way we can walk across now. Alright, can we walk across the desert? That's the question. I think I have to go to the gold saucer to get the key to the temple, I think. I think that's what we're doing. Gotta level up the old Magicka. It's kind of like one of the systems in Final Fantasy VII I don't like is having to level up materia. Having to constantly use the materia to level it up so you can use it. You kind of had that in Final Fantasy II with like leveling up your skills. Is this it? Well, let's find out. Magic. Ice. Magic. Fire. Magic. Cure. You have to do the battle arena to get the key? Okay. Well, we'll find out. It's something I know it's in the gold saucer. Normally, like, you go find the ancient temple, and then it's like, we can't get in. You're like, and then you wander around. Like, what do I do? And I remember it's at the gold saucer. What do I do here? That's a lot of, like, Final Fantasy VI kind of had that too. You're like, what do I do next? I don't know where I go. This one kind of had it too. A bunch of guys called Turks came here saying they'd pay 10,000 gil for some rock called a keystone. When I asked how much they'd pay for a regular rock just laying around here, they slapped me upside my damn head. Gold saucer. Gold saucer. Alright, hopefully I can take the train up here. I have to buy a ticket? Oh, it's free. Okay. Wait, do I have enough gil to buy the lifetime? I do. Okay. It's 30,000 gil to, like, buy the lifetime ticket. They are massive in the guitar world right now. They are phenomenal. I especially recommend you the song Playing God. It combines both metal and flamenco styles. Okay, I'll check them out. Stop listening to this one fantasy audiobook on YouTube because the whole first book was just being expositioned to by some character. I mean, that's it's basically Name of the Wind. Definitely one of my least favorite books of all time. I shouldn't say that. It was just bad. Least favorite is like I quit it, you know? I can't save unless I pay GP. Well, luckily, my friend, I have what's called a ghetto save. I have what's called a save state. Welcome to the Gold Saucer. Are you together? A single pass is 3,000 gil. Or you can purchase a lifetime pass for 30,000 gil. Am I going to be back here more than 10 times? I'll pay 30,000 gil. Battle. Alright. Sorry. Like I said, my allergies are really bad today. Battle Square. Go to the limits in the heated battles. Try your hand at the special gold attack. Battle. Alright, let's I do like the backgrounds here. Let's go ahead and save our state. I do love playing this on my PlayStation Vita. I gotta say, like, the PlayStation Vita is like one of the best gaming devices ever made. Are you here for the battle too? That's the idea. I like fighters. I hate those who are all talk. Here we go. Let's see what we got here. Should be my turn coming up here soon. Hey, have you heard? Something awful happened. 2 staff members and some Shinra soldiers were shot. The soldiers died instantly, but the staff survived. Alright, how do I do this? Register for battle? The registration fee is 10 GP. Let's do it. This is a one-on-one battle. Which one of you will participate? Cloud. You can engage in up to 8 battles. Be aware that the more battles you engage in, the greater the handicap and stronger the monsters will become. Well, I guess I'll enjoy a few battles.
Oh, check the trophy room. Too late. I'm already doing this. I'm gonna try it out. See if I can hit him with Death Blow. There we go. Great. Slot start. Yes, no handicap. Our fantasy is different. It has a 100-step magic system that you must know about. Yeah. Got it. You guys are trying to turn me to stone. I'm gonna blast you with fire. Oh, it didn't kill him. There we go. Great. Sweet. I'm gonna save this. Save the state real quick. I love Dio's Magica. Wish he made audiobooks. Turn to stone. Is this gonna turn me to stone? Oh, I need to use an item really quick. Crap. I'm gonna have to redo it because I didn't use the item. Have you played any of the Dark Souls games? Yes, I played Dark Souls and I played Demon Souls. I like them, but I'm not, you know, I don't play a lot of them because I don't have time generally to get good enough at them. You know, they're fun. I never beat Dark Souls. I assume I have an item that'll get rid of the stone status. Oh, I missed. Oh, Matra Magic. There we go. Great. A boot. Half speed. Actually, let's redo this. Playing the first game right now, I just love the aesthetic. I did watch a video on how to not screw yourself over in Dark Souls because I'd accidentally killed an important NPC. I think we have to win out in this, don't we? I'm gonna look it up actually. Give me a second.
I'm gonna look it up because I don't want to waste my time. Let's get here. Gold saucer. All right. We got Sid. All right. All right. All right. Da-da-da-da.
Alright, we have to go into Dio's showroom first. Someone in chat was correct. It's the Keystone. Long time no see, my boy. You like that, huh? I got it from the guy in a little shack that's south of here past the river. If you want to know about it, go there and talk to him. Can you let me borrow this? Sorry, but it's not for rent. Since you've been good to me in the past, I can let you have it on one condition. One condition? Entertain me. Oh boy. It's not something that's really difficult. This is the battle arena. Show me your fighting skills. Just you, my boy. I'm expecting a good fight. Oh, I'm not really set up. I might have to do that again. To like set him up. Actually, yeah, let me do that. We'll reload the state again. let's set Cloud up to like win. Tor is publishing the Elric series in 3 volumes. I don't recommend that. You don't have to pay $40 for old paperbacks. I bought them for like $3. Just look at used bookstores, number one. Number two, there's another set of editions, I don't have one here, that are out of the UK that are about $15 a piece. They're better and they include a lot of other auxiliary material too. So that's what I would recommend. Where is it? End coat. Let's do material. Counterattack, cover. Don't need that because we're not doing that. Boy, the sound is really weird. It sounds awful right now for some reason. I might actually switch this out because I do want to have AoE magic. Let's switch that out for the I think the gold armlet is still really good. Fire. Don't need that. that, we could use... I think I have a long range one. I think there's a long range materia, but I don't have it. Let's be tight in here. Doesn't matter that much. You don't really need cover. HP plus might be good. Enemy skill is good. Titan will do HP plus. I thought I had a long range one, but maybe I don't. That way you can put Cloud in the back row, so he takes less damage. Oh, wait, we gotta do this thing first. Let's go ahead and save this. You think you'll need restore? You could just use potions, and that saves your magicka, but I guess we could put it in there. I had 2 restores, I do. We don't need cover, so we'll do restore. Oh, he can heal himself. My allergies are just killing me today. It's the keystone. Oh, haste would be good too. You're right. Oh, too late. We'll probably be okay. It's not that hard. I think I forgot the enemy skill materia. Oh well. We'll just try it. Uppercutter. Great. There we go. This way we can like do the slot every time to cheese it. I don't know what we want here. I think we want the green dot. Oh, well, that's weak. Look at that crazy bug. Butterfly attack. Deathflow always misses. See if stop will wear off. There we go. Half HP. We'll see if we can auto attack our way to victory. Finger shot. Finger banged me. Half MP, that's what we wanted, because we can't use magic anyway. The Angry Machine! Watching from Lima, Peru. Oh boy, I hope you're having a great season. It's been warm here, and then it's gonna get down into like the 20s this week. It's been crazy. It was 80. It was 80 this week, and now it's gonna be in the 20s. You might use Celsius, so it's going from like 35 to 0. Save that limit break. Our week is complete. I just heard DPS say finger bang me. You finger banged me. Let's see what our penalty is here. Half MP. Jumping cutter. Ooh, these are weird. Blade beam. Let's see if we can kill both these guys. I love your Swordcraft videos, like the recent Evil Teacher one. I recognize another common archetypal character you may have thought. It's the Friendly Oaf. Yeah, the Friendly Oaf. It's like Little John from Robin Hood. Well, Little John and Friar Tuck are kind of both Friendly Oafs. Minus 30 in Montana. Dang, that is cold. There we go. 57 in South Texas. Alright, now I'm going to make another save point. So we're getting close here. I don't want to redo this and lose all that time, especially when we're getting to the end of the stream. Alright, here we go. What are we getting here? Magic materia is broken again! Oh boy. These guys are gonna kill me. Oh yeah. We're dead. Lima's always mild, 70s and 80s this time of year. Maybe it gets down to the 60s in July and August. Oh, we got it anyway. Alright. Okay. Now we get to go find the ancient temple. All right. No, I shan't. I think we stay in the ghost hotel. Welcome. Wait, I think we gotta try to leave first. Station. Oh, we got this way. I'm sorry, the tram is out of order right now. So? I'm really sorry. I'm afraid you won't be able to leave until it's fully repaired. What's wrong? Too bad, it happens though. I know, let's stay at the hotel. They know me here. I'll go talk to them. There are often other species like Loyal the O'Hare in Wheel of Time, or Gurgi in Fridain series, maybe even Gimli in Lord of the Rings, Treebeard. Yeah. I will let you know once the repairs are complete. Alright, here we go. We don't usually get the chance to be together like this, huh? Cloud, how about it? Can you tell us what's happened so far? I don't really know what's going on because I wasn't here in the beginning. Yeah, I'm all for it. Good idea. I've been here since the beginning and I still don't know what the hell's going on either. Cloud, what the hell's going on? Come on, tell us. Alright, I'll give it a shot. Whew. We are going after Sephiroth. Sephiroth must be in search of the Promised Land. A land full of Mako energy. Or at least that's what Shinra believe. Uh-oh. Hold on. I think my little doodad came undone. Hold on. Properties. There it is. Sorry, it came unplugged, I think. I don't know if it actually exists. The Setras return to the Promised Land, a land that promises boundless happiness. Cetra? That's some kind of disease? That's what the ancients call themselves. Hey, didn't you listen to the elders at Cosmo Canyon? You don't know where the Promised Land of the ancients is. You search and travel until you feel it. Like, you just know this is the Promised Land. Eris, can you feel it too? I think so. So Sephiroth is traveling the world because he's searching for the Promised Land? Is that it? That and one other thing he's searching for. The Black Materia. I heard from Dio that a man in a black cape was looking for the Black Materia. I don't even know what the black cape is. How many men with black capes and number tattoos are there? You know, of course, my tattoo is number 13. How did you get that tattoo? Hojo put it on me. Everything else is just war scars, but the number was done by Hojo. So there are at least 13? You know, I think Hojo did something to those men in the black capes. But I don't know what it has to do with Sephiroth, though. That's why I think we should just go after Sephiroth himself. Yeah, me too. It's all just too damn confusing. And I'm sorry, forget it. I think I'm tired. I'm going to bed now. What was that all of a sudden? What? That's it? I'm going to bed? Is that all? How about the black materia? You wouldn't understand even if I told you. Now all we gotta do is take action. We're starting tomorrow. Cloud. I'm number 13. Am I going to go mad too? I don't know what Hojo did to you, but you've been alright so far, right? But be strong. But Stop it, Red 13. Be strong. Tifa? You're not the only one who's worried. I don't know what's going on, but we're in a bad situation. Hey, Sid. Let's go back to our rooms. Zzz. Hee hee. What's wrong? You want to go on a date? What? A date. Where haven't you ever gone on one? Well, not a real one. No, just a mixed up kid. Oh well, come on, let's go. Hey. Tonight's enchantment night. All the attractions are free. How about it, you two? There's going to be an entertaining show in Event Square. Come on, let's go. Congratulations. You are our 100th couple today. You two will be the leads in tonight's show. What? Oh, now it's not hard. Just play it however you want to, and the rest of the cast will cover up for you. Come this way. Hey. This sounds like fun. Come on, Cloud, let's do it. Long, long ago, an evil shadow appeared over the peaceful kingdom of Galdia. Princess Rosa was just kidnapped by the evil Dragon King, Valvados. What will become of her? Just then the legendary hero, Alfred, appears. Oh, you must be the legendary hero, Alfred! Hey, it's your line. Yeah, you. Ahem. Oh, you must be the legendary hero, Alfred. I know in my soul. Please, please say Princess Rosa. Now, please talk to the king. Oh, legendary hero, Alfred, you have come to save my beloved Rosa. On the peak of a dangerous mountain dwells the evil Dragon King, Valvados, who's kidnapped Princess Rosa. But you can't beat the evil Dragon King now. Talk to one who can help you. Who will you talk to? The knight or the wizard? I will talk to... should I talk to the knight or the wizard? Let's talk to the knight. I am the lowly knight. How can I help you? Defeat the king. Oh, what is going to happen next? Oh, legendary hero, look! I already did a video on the Cyberpunk anime. At least one, actually. And I have another one for the game. You won't know what I'm talking. You won't know what to expect with that video. It's not a traditional game review at all. You'll like it. I just gotta assemble the footage and stuff. I already recorded the actual content, the voice part. I can find. Yeah, I did a video on Cyberpunk Edgerunners and Gnosticism already. But ho! Do you dare ignore the evil Dragon King? Yeah! I am the evil Dragon King, Valvados. I have not harmed the princess. I have been expecting you. Please help me, legendary hero. Psst, like that. Who is your enemy? Say it. What? Ugh! Thank you. You've released me from the spell, and I am back to my normal self. Oh, look! Love has triumphed! Now let's all return and celebrate. Yes, let's. Yes, let's. Oh, how profound the power of love. And so the legendary hero, Alfred, and our story live on happily ever after. What is this? You can't do this. Oh, that was fun. Hey, let's go on the gondola. Wings of Hanimise? 2, please. Here you are, 2 tickets. Enjoy the sights of Gold Saucer. I was just thinking it's amazing how much better Final Fantasy IX looks than this game. Wow, how nice. Come on. Why are you frowning, Cloud? Oh, look, Cloud. Oh, he has to look too. The Chocobo races. It's so pretty. These cutscenes were so cool in the 90s. Let me tell you. They were rad. We're like, whoa! It's beautiful, isn't it? First off, it bothered me how you looked exactly alike. 2 completely different people, but look exactly the same. The way you walk, gesture. I think I must have seen him again in you. But you're different. Things are different. A little clue as to who Cloud really is. Cloud, I'm searching for you. Huh? I want to meet you, but I'm right here. I know. What I mean is, I want to meet you. I had fun tonight. Let's go together again. You don't like being with me? That's not it. I'm glad. Next time we come, let's take our time and go on more rides. Oh, look at the time. We'd better get going. Hey, what's Catchy doing? Is that the keystone? Hey, Catchy! Gotcha. Let's go get lots of GP Wonder Square and have some fun. Did you go to Chocobo? Where are you going, you silly Catchy? Hey, over here at the Keystone. Well done. Knew I shouldn't have let you join the party. Hey, wait a second. I won't run her high. Yes, I was a spy. I was hired by the Shinra. I trusted you. I can't believe you. I couldn't help it. How about if we continue like nothing ever happened? No way, Cat. You got a lot of guts acting like a friend, but being a spy. Then what are you gonna do? Kill me? You'd just be wasting your time if you tried. This body's just a toy anyway. My real body's at Shinra headquarters in Midgar. I'm controlling this toy cat from there. So you're from Shinra. Who? Who are you? Tell me. Well, I can't tell you my name. We're not getting anywhere. See, I told you, talking won't do any good, so can't we just continue on our journey? You think I'm joking? Alright, yes, I am a Shinra employee, but we're not entirely enemies. Something bothers me. I think it's your way of life. You don't get paid, you don't get praise, yet you still risk your lives to continue on your journey. Seeing that it just makes me think about my life. I don't think I'd feel too good if things ended the way they are now. And so on and so on. I'll never tell the truth. Once a spy, always a spy. We can't go on with someone like that. Come on, get real. Just as I thought, talking won't make a bit of difference. But I prepared something in case this happened. Why don't you listen to this? Papa, Tifa. Hey, that's Marlene. Hey, it's the Flower Lady. Flower Lady. So, you have to do as I say. You're the lowest. I didn't want to do this, using dirty tricks and taking hostages. But this is how it is. No compromises. So why don't we continue on as we did? Oh, you didn't seem to know this, but the Keystone is the key to the Temple of the Ancients. Even so, you're all going, right? I know where it is, so I'll show you later. The Shinra have already been there, but I guess you'll have to deal with that. Well, we're stuck. We'll have to do whatever he says. I wonder if Marlene is alright. I wonder what happened to Mom. To be fair, they forgave Yuffie after she betrayed them. At least Catchy didn't rearrange your materia and make you go through them all over again. It's true. So what's in here? Got an elixir. That's cool. Alright. took you so long, Cloud? Oh yeah, about the Temple of the Ancients. I think if we take the tiny Bronco east towards the sea, we should be able to find it. Well then, shall we get going? Who's gonna go? I want to go. I'm going for sure. Oh, who do I want in the party? Cloud and his 2 women. Alright. We'll do it. I forgot to take all the material off of Sid, but we'll do that on the map. Doesn't matter. Starting to get nervous. All right, let's go. And see you later. The station. Where am I? Uh-oh. Small problem. It's stuck. There he is, there he is. Alright, this will probably be the last thing we do for today. We'll go to Temple of the Ancients. For next time. Alright guys, that's it for today. I'm going to save, get on our way. I'll link some books. Alright. Yeah, let me link the newest books. So you guys can check them out if you want to. Afterglow, Generation Y. That's the newest book. Came out last month. Previous month's book was Alshafalda, A Tragedy in 5 Acts, which you guys can check out. Is Adobe InDesign the best software for formatting books for publishing? I use Microsoft Word. But it really depends what you're formatting. If you're formatting comics, InDesign is very good. You can do book interior formatting with InDesign, but Microsoft Word is more efficient for just text and stuff. So anyway, there's that. Got the books linked. I guess I can relink the article, AI article, if you want to read that. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a great one. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And that's it. Later. Thanks for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate the super chats a lot. So have a great one. And Merry Christmas. I don't know. Next week is Christmas Eve, right? Let me look. I'm not sure if I will stream. I expect to stream next week. Even though it's Christmas Eve. I'm not sure when the vigil service starts. So anyway, I'll probably stream next week and then might have to leave early to do church stuff. So have a great one, and I'll see you all next time.